Welcome to the Cave of Wonders, friends. I am Lord Callous of the Dreamwalkers. With JJ Abrams back at the helm, writing and directing for Star Wars Episode 9, will he take the time to revisit the Force sensitivity he alluded to in The Force Awakens? With Finn, FN 2187. Welcome to the Rancor Report. I am Lord Callous, and one of the biggest questions lurking around in my mind as they begin to shoot Star Wars Episode 9 is, will JJ return to his original idea, oh yes, it was his original idea, and make Finn Force sensitive? Now, we first get a sense that Finn is attuned to the Force, or that the Force has awakened within him at the very beginning of the movie. The first scene is when Finn kneels next to his dying compadre, and I believe that trooper is Slip from this book, Before the Awakening. Now, Finn was a part of a squad. He was actually the leader of the squad. And there were three of his squad mates that he was close to. That was Zeros, Nines, and Slip. Slip was the one he was closest to. And so I believe that that dying trooper was in fact Slip. And when he touched Finn's helmet, it charged him emotionally. And that awakened the Force that had always been within Finn. So that's the first inkling that we get that Finn is Force sensitive. The second, at the beginning of the movie, is when Kylo Ren and the First Order are beginning to leave Jakku, and Kylo Ren actually stops, deliberately turns to look at Finn. Finn standing there like a deer in the headlights, like, damn, I just got caught. You know, I don't even know what this is that's happening to me, and now he's feeling it, and now I'm feeling it, and what the heck's about to happen, you know? And then I got a sense of from the Phantom Menace where Palpatine says to Anakin,
"And you, young Skywalker, we will watch your career with great interest."
The next indication that we have that Finn is Force sensitive is his competency behind the turrets and the cannons, both the TIE fighter with Poe, and then in the Millennium Falcon with Rey. So this is somebody who had no experience with starfighters, and yet within seconds he is able to connect with this machinery, and he's able to do it competently. So that's the second, or the third actually. The next is his trek through the Jakku desert. I mean, his trek through the desert led him directly to the only other Force-sensitive being that we know of on that planet, and that was Rey. Not to mention the fact that he sustained himself through that trek. Then we know that to be something that Jedi have done. They've been able to. Ben Skywalker actually did it in the EU when he was in ship. Where he had no food, but he was able to, with the Force, sustain himself over a certain amount of time. So that's a Jedi or a Force-sensitive trait, and Finn was able to do it until he reached the town where he met Rey, the only other Force-sensitive being on the planet. And what about Maz Kanata? With Han Solo and Chewbacca, people she knows, known for a long time, both standing right in front of her, she chooses to hand that lightsaber to Finn. Luke's lightsaber. Luke is Han Solo's best friend, and yet she hands the lightsaber to Finn. Not only does she hand the lightsaber to Finn, she encourages him to use it. This is somebody who she knows is a stormtrooper. As a Force-sensitive being herself, she knows that he is a stormtrooper, that he is more comfortable with a blaster, and yet she hands him the lightsaber and then encourages him to use it. Why would she do that in an act that could possibly get him killed? Then there's the fact that Finn himself would forego the blaster for the lightsaber. Now, if you've read this book, again I'll reference Before the Awakening, you know that Finn is actually very well trained with both melee and ranged weapons. So he was familiar with that baton that he was fighting against. And I actually believe that trooper who was codenamed TR8R, right, for traitor. I believe that was either 9s or 0s from his squad, because he was so charged, and when he saw Finn, so I feel like he took that personally, and that's why he was so upset, and he wanted to get revenge, I guess, sort of on Finn for turning against the First Order. But anyway, so Finn would choose the lightsaber over the blaster, something that he is trained with, something that he is comfortable with, and he would choose the lightsaber over the blaster. And then in that last scene, or the fight scene with Rey, Kylo Ren, and Finn, first Finn and Kylo Ren, why was Kylo so emotionally charged? Why was he so upset that Finn had betrayed them? Why wasn't he just any other stormtrooper that just deserved to die? But his passion when he yelled "traitor," it was as if, just like TR8R took it so personal, I think that Kylo Ren took it personally because he might have felt like he had another somebody else he could train with under Snoke, maybe. Who knows what his reasoning was, but the fact that he took it so personally, I believe, was a result of Finn's Force sensitivity, him recognizing Finn's Force sensitivity, and that's why he took that so personally. And then lastly, Finn's ability to hear the destruction of the Hosnian system before it happened. His ability to recognize that it was the First Order who in fact had destroyed the Hosnian system, the Republic. Why would he otherwise know that? He could hear the screams, he could hear the destruction happening. There's no way possible that could have happened unless, of course, he was Force sensitive. So these are all efforts of JJ to foreshadow for Episode 8. So Finn is in fact Force sensitive, and I believe that this was one of the biggest missed opportunities that Rian Johnson had for Episode 8, among other plot holes. But as a writer, I would have covered 3 story arcs, and much like Rian Johnson did, but I would have done them differently. So the first would have been Rey's heritage and training. She would have, of course, been trained by Luke, and she would have discovered that Luke was her father. That would have been the first story arc. The second would have been Poe's succession of Leia as the leader of the rebellion. I think that it was a waste of time making Holdo succeed Leia and then ultimately Poe becoming the leader at the end. I think that they should have taken that time. We could have kept Holdo's character in place, but she could have fit some other something else that happened in the movie, and that in fact Poe was taking over from Leia under Leia's guidance and leadership. Through this movie, she should have been training Poe to take over leadership of the rebellion. And then the third story arc would have been Finn. During The Last Jedi, Finn discovering his Force sensitivity and exploring his abilities. And he could have, imagine the Canto Bight, as much as we hate that scene, imagine those scenes if Finn were Force sensitive. It wouldn't have, they could have done so many different things with it had they explored that avenue instead of the corny way that they went, but whatever. So those would have been the three story arcs. And then so ultimately at the end, Rey, right, who is training under her father, she's the one that's going to take over the Jedi Order, and Finn would be training under her. So for this next film, the 9th film, you have the conclusion, right? You have Rey as the Skywalker, training as a Jedi. You have Poe taking over the rebellion, and you have Finn training under Rey. And then everybody ties back to the main antagonist, Kylo Ren. And there you have your episode 9. So again, I hope that JJ does actually take the opportunity to explore this avenue the same way that he intended to, or it looked like he was setting up. He alluded to the fact that Finn was Force sensitive, and I truly hope that he goes that route, because otherwise, again, it's another wasted opportunity. But you guys let me know what you think. I appreciate your time. This was the Rancor Report. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please, let me know in the comments section. Do you think Finn will be Force sensitive? Or will JJ go the Rian Johnson route and just leave him a plain old Joe? And while you're there, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And as always, thank you for taking your time to spend with the Dreamwalker.